Hello, welcome to today's edition of Pegasus Test. On today's edition, we're doing Stage 7 of Red Oktober 2018, Hungary, 1956. Stage 7 was a really fun stage, and I'm saying that even though it was a complete dumpster fire for me, well, dumpster explosion would probably be more accurate, but let's go through the description of the stage. You started off ready at kind of a simulated tunnel type of thing. It really wasn't a tunnel, it was more like a shallow ditch with some metal grates over it that were at an angle. And you started out at one end, you dived into the ditch, and that's where things started to go wrong for me. The opening is wider than the middle, and when I got to the end of the first grate, I knocked my camera off kilter. You'll see some funny GoPro footage in this video. And then crawling forward to the next grate, I slammed straight into the lower end of it. Knocked my camera off further, put everything askance, cut my head, started bleeding all over everything. So yeah, it was fun. So I came crawling out of the tunnel, which is at a slight upgrade and, you know, a little slicker than you think it is, because when you encounter these kind of plastic conduit things in other places, they're always level. This time it was on an upgrade of about 5 or 6%, but it was just enough to not have good traction. So once you get past that and you came out, you had to take a stage gun. Now in the stage description they told us it would be a Mosin that we had to fire off one round. It turns out the Mosin was gone, there was an AK there, and they had given you a round at the beginning before the start signal that you pre-positioned, and you had to rock the magazine in, charge the gun, and fire. And yeah, well, that didn't work for me either. I charged it, nothing happened, charged it again, it finally worked, sort of, kind of, maybe. So then I grabbed my rifle and then began to flow through the targets. And there was an array on each side that you had to engage fairly quickly. Your first array was right there, point blank, so it was pretty much point and blast. Then there was a similar array on the other side. They had a walking shooting box that you could shoot from anywhere in. You went to the end of that where you could see two far targets, basically one in each corner of the bay. And then there was, boom, a simulated tank in front of you. I think it was supposed to be an APC, but it looks more like a tank, so we'll go with that. Then you went into the back of the simulated vehicle, and there was a firing port on both the left and the right. And when you aimed at the port, you had a target presentation of a hostage concealing half an IPSC target. And you had to get to there, obviously getting no hits on the hostage. And then transition sides without breaking the 180, go out the other gun port, and neutralize that target. And that's where things went wrong for me there too. Once I was in the vehicle, neutralized one side, transitioned to the other side, got a face shot, and then my weapons jammed. And so bad I had to remove the magazine, get the fingers up in the action, rack it a few times, get it cleared, get the magazine back in, and then finally fire some shots off. My time was abominable. It was like 58 seconds. Should have been about half that based on how the rest of the guys in my team did. But anyways, it was still fun. And you know, one of the greatest things we got out of it was some really funky looking GoPro footage, which made it all worth it. Right now, we're going to follow our pattern we've been doing in this series. We're going to show you the walkthrough we did on the stage the Friday before the match. Alright, that was the walkthrough. Now we're going to show you my actual run. Pay close attention as I come to the end of the first grade in the trench. You'll see me knock the camera on my GoPro, I should say. You'll see me knock that askance, and then you'll see me crawl forward and ram my head right into the next barrier. And then it just goes downhill from there. But I have a okay run if you factor out that, you factor out the misfires, you factor out the jams. It was a great run, you know, other than all that. So take a look.
He knocked his camera off. Yeah.
Whoa! Okay, that was my run through. Now here's the GoPro footage so you get the very weird point of view. One of the things I forgot to mention earlier in the stage description, when you come out of the tunnel, that's where your rifle was pre-staged next to the stage gun. So before you started, you got your gun all set up, magazine in, bolt down on an empty chamber, and then you had the stage gun there with one round in the magazine out of the rifle. So upon coming out of the tunnel, you loaded the stage gun, you attempted to fire it in my case, I eventually got it to go, then you grab your rifle, charge it, and engage the first array of targets which are right there in front of you. Anyways, here's the GoPro footage, check it out.
Come on up here. Show me an empty chamber. Thank you. Alright, go ahead and load the magazine. Alright, skip down here. Grab the magazine out of that one. One round. Any questions?
Nope, just set the back down.
I thought you were going to aim straight at the rock. In your head, right? Yeah. The rock, go right to it.
Alrighty, shoot ready?
Ready.
Stand by.
And just for giggles, here's a little footage of my head wound.
That's your time.
Oh God.
No penalties.
And to give you the proper POV perspective, here's a view of the stage from the GoPro of one of my friends who had it attached to his AK.
Thank you. Can I take that for you if you like?
Yep, here, hammer down.
Yes, please.
Okay. All in all, it was a really fun stage. Didn't do anything for my score on the stage, didn't do anything for my overall score, but I had a blast doing it. I wish there was a way I could have redone it, obviously, so could factor out the head wound and factor out the double feed and the jam and all that stuff. But, you know, such is life in a match. These things happen, and fighting through it is not the worst thing in the world because there's training skill to get out of it. One of the things to be aware of is that was simulating basically an APC, opening a little smaller than your average APC. And, you know, I watched myself do it, I watched other people do it, you know. A lot of us who served in the military were taught that, you know, you go into the vehicle muzzle down, muzzle up, so you're not pointing anybody in the vehicle. That's a little different in a match, and that's something to be aware of, because unknowingly you could get yourself into breaking 180 in a DQ situation. Luckily, as far as I know, that didn't happen to anybody, but the potential is definitely there, and it's something to be aware of as general match etiquette. The use of big props at Red Oktober has been a really interesting thing. I definitely feel it adds an interesting dynamic. In this case, you had a tank/APC to use. Over on stage 5, there was a whole house to shoot from, and other things that they had in this match. This is one of the areas where having some dynamic props really added to the sense and the feel and made the match much more enjoyable. We hope you're enjoying the series on Red Oktober 2018. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and tune in tomorrow for Stage 8, Afghanistan.